Have you ever wondered why some people seem to turn the smallest opportunities into success while some others struggle? In this presentation, I will show you simple steps to create wealth from what you have. So far, we have considered three keys to moving from debt to wealth. And today, we'll continue by exploring three additional keys. As you know that we are considering the story of the prophet Elisha and the poor widow. For those that are not familiar with the story, I would love to read that part of the scriptures. That's the book of Second Kings, chapter 4 and verse 1 to 7. I'll be reading from the New Living Translation. One day, the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead, and you know how he feared the Lord. But now a creditor has come, threatening to take my two sons as slaves. What can I do to help you?" Elisha asked. "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" "Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil," she replied. And Elisha said, "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors." We'll stop there as we take this discussion a step further. So, as you know, that we are considering the topic from debt to wealth. Earn money with what you have. And before now, we have considered three keys to move from debt to wealth. And the last key we considered was key number 4: convert the idea to valuable assets. Number 5: what do you have? And the sixth: what you have is enough. Grow it. If you would love to learn more about these keys, you can check my last video. Let's go to the seventh key. Nothing happens if you do not act. From this story, we saw that the prophet gave the woman a clear instruction. She was told, "Go get empty jars, right, from your friends and neighbors," and of course, the other instructions that followed. But the key that we want to bring out here is that nothing happens if you do not act. You are meant, you are not meant to only dream about your ideas, you are meant to act on them. We have established before now that God, in a way, does not give you money, right? Because in heaven, they don't spend money, they don't print dollars, naira, or whatsoever currency that we spend on earth. Rather, when God needs to, move you from debt to wealth, He gives you clear instructions or He gives you an idea, right? And if you don't work on that idea, nothing is going to happen. So nothing happens if you do not act. By the time you are conceiving an idea, that means that you have got work to do, right? And we know that in the world, there might not be job for everyone in this world. But I tell you that there is work for everyone to do. Everyone is in a way employed. You have got something you are supposed to do. We should understand that work is a blessing. So do not be lazy, get to work, right? We have established that there may not be sufficient jobs in the world, but there is enough work for everyone. Work is a blessing and you must find your work. In fact, your fulfillment lies in finding your work. Many people are not happy and fulfilled on a particular job, because when you talk about work, it's about what you are sent to the earth to do. So until you find the reason for your existence, you have not started your work. And by the time your resources and your existence on earth coincide with the reason for your existence, you will definitely find fulfillment. And the beautiful thing is that apart from finding fulfillment, you are compensated for doing what you are created to do. So it's actually important that you find your work. So you have got work to do. By the time God is giving you an idea or you conceive an idea, that means that you have got work to do. If you need to learn more about how to find your work and how to unlock your path to impact, fulfillment, and worthy compensation, I wrote a book on that. Just scan the QR code to get a copy of the book. Let's continue. Now, your ideas are useless and will remain intangible until you act on them. In fact, the work lies in bringing your ideas to the tangible world. Your ideas, they are useless to people around you because they are intangible. The idea is just in you. You conceived it. We don't have an idea of what your idea is all about. It's until you turn that idea to what is valuable to people, that's when they can pay you for the value you are giving to them. And don't forget that money flows in the direction of value. So if you have value to give, money is going to flow to you. So it's important that you document your ideas. That's not all. By the time you conceive the idea, you should document the idea. Now, by the time you are documenting the idea, you may not have the full picture of the idea. But by the time you are documenting, you get to flesh it up day in and day out. Then don't it's not enough to document. You have to take it a step further. You need to plan how to achieve the idea. So what are the resources that you need? What's the scope of the idea or the scope of the project? What time frame are you giving yourself to achieve that particular idea? All these are actually important. So by the time you are planning you are planning for the ideas, you should likewise write the plan down. And don't forget that you must make it smart, you must make it measurable, and you must actually make sure that there is a time frame, attached to that particular idea. When you are done with the planning, right, you need to implement. That means you need to get to work. Of course, the idea itself, the planning, and even the implementation, all this involves a different level of work. Now, idea conception and actualization is a journey which may not always be pleasant, as it requires a lot of effort from you. There is actually a journey, between the idea conception and actualization. Many people conceive idea, and in fact, if we know the number of ideas that are conceived per day, I mean, we'll be amazed, if we compare to the number of ideas that were actually actualized. And that is why it's been said that the richest place on earth is the grave, because many people conceive ideas that they never actualize. Why? Because there is a journey between idea conception and idea actualization. And I tell you, that journey is not a smooth ride. It's full of ups and downs. But the beautiful thing is that it's not just about actualizing the idea or bringing the idea to the tangible world that makes it beautiful. Rather, who you become in the journey or in the process of actualizing the ideas, right? So the journey itself teaches you how to be patient, it teaches you consistency, it teaches you diligence, endurance, right? So it's about the person you actually become in the journey. So work hard, don't forget that, and work smart. Stay focused. Be patient, Patience is not just about sleeping, right, while you are doing something. In fact, patience is an active thing, right? By the time you are patient and calm, it's not that you are indifferent or you are lazy. In fact, impatience is hard work. Impatience is a whole lot of work. So be patient, be consistent, endure, work hard and smart. And don't forget to stay focused, right? People want to discourage you because they don't understand what you have conceived. And I've explained that that is what the idea behind misconception lies. They find it difficult to conceive what you have conceived. So don't be discouraged. The way you wouldn't be discouraged is to be focused on the end goal or the end result, right? And you should celebrate every small wins that you get on your journey to the end point, right? Okay, so that's also very important. Okay, let's take the discussion to the next step. We are considering key number 8, and that is cherish your networks and relationships. This is also very important. Now, the woman had something else beside the jar of oil. She had friends and neighbors, right? Apart from we would probably think that all she had was the jar of oil, but she had more. She had something more than that. She had a network and relationship, because the prophet told her, go get empty jars from your friends and neighbors. That means she had friends and neighbors. Just assume that she doesn't have anybody around her. So I tell you, your networks and relationship is a form of asset, right? Your seed capital for your business, for instance, might come from your network and relationships. So by the time you say that you do not have the capital for a business, it might just be that that capital lies, in your network and relationship. The prophet gave her a clear instruction: borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors. Now imagine she had been a terrible woman to her friends and neighbors. Would she have been able to borrow the jars? And if she did, would they have willingly lent them to her? This is also important. That means that you need to cherish your network. You need to actually value your networks and relationship. This is very important. Now invest in your networks and relationships. Do not be a parasite in a network and relationship. This is actually important. Bring something to the table. Don't just be someone in a network or relationship that is just always at the receiving side. You should bring something to the table. This helps to build trust, right? This helps to make other people in the network understand that you value the relationship or network they have with you. Someone said that do not visit anyone without bringing a gift along. Even if you don't have anything, there is always something you can give. You know the story of Paul. He narrated how a church gave to him, and he said that that church, they don't have anything, and that's the Philippian church. You would wonder how a church that has nothing still had something to give. That means, in a way, every one of us, we have something to give, right? If you don't have money, you know that you can just get a flower. Even along the road, you can pluck a flower, right, and give someone. That's a gift. You can write, you can write an encouraging word, right? An encouraging article, and give someone. That is a gift. So we need to actually think more than, right, more than money. Someone also said that your network. Someone also said that your network is your net worth, right? So build trust. It's important that you build trust in a network and relationship. Be honest and truthful. Some people are on a job, and those that work with them don't trust them. You need to be truthful and honest. Build integrity. In simple terms, integrity is when your words align with your actions, when you are undivided. That means when you say a thing, you do that particular thing that you say, right? It's better not to even say anything when you are not willing to, follow through with your words. Some people have been in business transactions and they were dishonest, and they don't know that they were sacrificing something valuable, and that is their networks and their relationships. Now, apart from thinking of integrity as something outward, integrity actually starts with being true to yourself, right? So if you are telling yourself that you need to achieve a particular goal, you need to achieve it. That's having integrity to yourself. So if I decided that I'm going to read a book maybe this month, reading that book says that I have integrity to myself. And the fortunate thing or the beautiful thing is that if you don't have integrity to yourself, you cannot to other people, because you can't give what you do not have. Very important. The next thing is that be selfless. This is important to cherish and build your networks and relationships. You know, there's this businessman that got a contract, right? He got a contract, and the condition of the contract is that there is no down payment. Okay, and the contract is huge. He approached his bank to get a loan, and when the bank manager checked his account details and, of course, his assets, they couldn't give him the loan because they were wondering how he's going to pay back. So he was disappointed, went back home and was like, is this how this big project is going to go without, getting to implement it? And the idea dropped in his mind that why not approach his business partners? And he approached them. Do you know what? Though it took a time of interacting with them, but they got the contract done for him. I mean, everything without a down payment. What he enjoyed was this. While they were interacting, they said they had business transactions with him in the past. We are talking of networks and relationships, and this guy had been honest and truthful. He has invested in that network, and of course that was what provided for that contract that he got. Now let's take a discussion a step further. Key number 9: understanding bad and good debts. Very important. In the instruction that was given to this woman, the prophet told her, borrow as many empty jars. You would imagine that a woman that is already in debt, she's now told to borrow more. Isn't that debt upon debt? Right? And that is where this concept, you need to understand the concept of bad and good debts. There are good and bad debts. You need to understand that. In simple terms, good debt has the potential to increase your income. So it's a kind of debt that brings money to you, while bad debts takes money away from you. It's just like looking at liabilities and assets, and in simple terms, liability, it's anything that takes money away from you, right? An asset is anything that brings money to you. That's just it. So if you incur a debt and that debt is used to purchase a liability, that's bad debt. Use the assets to purchase assets, that is good debt. Reason being that asset brings money back to you. You get that, right? And that's the difference between bad and good debts. In fact, many businesses, they run on debt. They take loan to run their businesses, right? The reason why that kind of a debt is good is because it's bringing money back to them. So you need to ask yourself the question anytime you want to get a debt or you want to get a loan, what are you using it for? Is it for are you spending it on liability or on an asset? For instance, you could get a loan to get a car, right? But the car can either be an asset or a liability. Just simple question asked, is this car bringing money back to me? If yes, then the car is an asset. But if the car is taking money from you for maintenance, for instance, and other stuff, then that car is a liability. Of course, it's good to have a car, but you need to balance the equation. You don't want to put yourself in unnecessary pressure, right? The other thing to also ask is, what's the interest rate of the loan that you are willing to take? If the interest rate is high, then you might think twice before you take such a loan, because that could just equate to a bad debt. In fact, if you want to use an amount, for a business and the interest rate is too much, then it's no longer a good debt, but a bad debt. So this is actually also important. So the woman got a capital at 0% interest rate. Reason being that she got the empty jars without an interest rate, right? She only used the jar, and when she was done, of course, she would return the jars to the owner. So in a way, she secured it based on trust. Likewise, there's this real story of a businessman. He wanted to expand his business, a real life story, right? And at that time, where he was in the country where he was, the interest rate to get a loan is 30%. Okay, but he discussed with his partners, like his business partners outside the country where he was, and they made an arrangement for him to get the loan at 5%. That is good debt. Imagine 30% to 5%, and of course he's using it to expand his business. There's also one concept I want you to know, and that is other people's money. It's called OPM. Using other people's money, that means you are leveraging debts to create wealth. You can use other people's money in business, right? So, right, you can use that money to probably go into business or even to provide a service. For instance, if you are given a contract, you might ask for maybe 70% down payment or so to implement that particular contract or service. All right, so that is it for today. Don't forget to get my latest book titled Find Your Work: Unlocking Your Path to Impact, Fulfillment, and Worthy Compensation. You can just scan the QR code on your screen. That will take you to the page where you can get the book. You can also check your favorite book outlets for a copy. Thanks for joining me once again. You can as well subscribe to this channel. Thank you.